Okay, here we are, NAMM 2013. We're at the Waves booth and we're talking with Luke Smith. We're going to talk a little bit about their new DigiGrid system and a couple other things that they're highlighting here. Got a lot on the table here for Waves, so we'll try to go through them all real quickly here with you, and good to see you again, Luke.
Sounds good, Kevin. Thanks for coming. And we've got a huge announcement here, lots of new products to talk about. So actually, let's start with DigiGrid, which will probably be the biggest announcement here at the show, for us especially. The DigiGrid origins, before I explain that, come from SoundGrid. And SoundGrid technology was developed by us about 3 years ago to provide Waves plug-in processing to live consoles other than Avid systems. We have great integration with Avid Venue, always have, but we'd like to open that up to the rest of the world. So what we did is create our own DSP server that connects to either an Allen & Heath, Yamaha, or Digico console, right? And the components of a SoundGrid system are a network switch in the middle, Ethernet cable going to the DSP server, Ethernet cable going to a special Ethernet card outfitted for whatever console you're using, it's compatible, and another Ethernet cable that goes to the Mac or PC, running our host application called Multi-Rack. It looks like it sounds. It's virtual racks, 8 plugins per rack, that send audio to and from the server in less than a millisecond. So you're able to use that on your live console as both insert points and aux send and returns. And what does that mean? It means lots of different things. The biggest point is that it's bringing the studio tools to live sound. So it's obviously very popular, and the technology is very robust. And so what we wanted to do was port that same technology over to the studio world. And that's the idea behind DigiGrid. And in order to do that, we didn't want to just make it a DSP server. We wanted it to be an all-in-one box. And so we partnered with Digico because they have very high quality I/O and conversion. We have the DSP server technology, we've got the plugins and the software, and it makes one complete system. So DigiGrid is really broken up into quick sentences. The quick answer is it's something for everybody. But the idea is that we're breaking it up into 3 market segments. So the first one is broadcast. It's actually, the first market segment is actually 4 market segments, but the Matty guys, let's call them, right? It could be a large format post console, could be a broadcast console, could be a live sound console, right? The majority of those guys use Matty to get in and out of their DSP cores, right? Studer, Lavo, Soundcraft, Euphonics, list goes on. So we created both an MGB and an MGO box. MGB is BNC Matty, MGO is optical Matty, right? There are 2 Matty ins, 2 Matty outs. So we have 128 channels of recording and playback into any DAW you want, because the connection to the computer on these boxes is an Ethernet cable. Ethernet cable connects to the computer, you're running our core audio or ASIO sound driver, right? And then all of a sudden your DAW recognizes 128 channels, simultaneous recording and playback.
That's pretty amazing.
This is amazing. So that's the Matty solution as far as DigiGrid is concerned. We also have a solution for our native DAW customers, and that is over here. iOS, iOX, IOC. The iOS is the flagship, and it has a little bit of everything. It has a SoundGrid server built into it. It has 4 network ports. It's got 8 mic line inputs. It's got 8 line outputs, pair AES SPDIF I/O. It's got MIDI I/O. It can be your master clock, 2 headphone outs. Connects to the
extendable.
Exactly. Connects to the computer via Ethernet. Can be either a core audio or a sound or ASIO sound card. But it's not just an I/O, it's a DSP server and a switch too. And the other reason we have built the switch in is if you need more I/O, you can gang these expander devices onto it if you want to. So the iOX, we designed maybe to live in a studio live room, doesn't have to, but it's got 12 mic line inputs, 6 line outputs, it's got 4 headphone outputs, word clock I/O, and then a couple of Ethernet ports. You can connect that to the IOC. IOC has 2 headphone outs, it's got a couple of mic inputs, it's got couple of mic inputs, it's got sorry, one more time. The IOC has a couple of mic inputs. It's got 8 line I/O. It's got 16 AES EBU I/O. It's got word clock in and out as well. And so they're nice complements to this iOS.
And I think you were saying the IOX is like for a live room, and the IOC
Might live in a control room.
control room.
Right. And the idea is we put 2 mic pre's on there, so maybe you need to do some sort of overdub. But in the live room, you might need 12 mic pre's for recording drums and something else simultaneously.
Now, what on the DSP server? What kind of chip are we looking at?
It's an i5 Intel chip, and in fact, when this comes to market in Q2, it might even be stronger than that. But currently, it's an excellent question. The DSP servers are capable of doing, for instance, at least 300 C4s.
Wow.
So that's a lot of processing.
That is a lot of processing.
Yeah, on one DSP server. So, the last option that we have, and that's what's actually hooked up today at this station, is the DLS and the DLI. Those are specifically for our Pro Tools customers. Our Pro Tools customers, TDM or HDX customers, not native, but this is specifically for Pro Tools TDM and Pro Tools HDX customers. Now, as far as AAX is concerned, another big announcement that we have at NAMM this year is that we're fully committed to supporting the AAX native platform. So every single plugin that we make will be AAX native compatible this year, in the near future. The AAX DSP format is something we're not planning on doing at this time. So in order to give HDX customers real-time processing while tracking, we created the DLS. The DLS has 2 DigiLink ports, 4 Ethernet ports, and a built-in SoundGrid server, just like the iOS. So it's hooked up via Ethernet to the computer, but it's also hooked up via DigiLink to my HDX card. And I'm getting 32 outputs from Pro Tools into my eMotion mixer. The last link in the chain here is how do you manage all of these devices? And that's via either multi-rack, the software that already exists for SoundGrid, or our new eMotion mixer, which is a fully functional mixer, plug-in host. There you go. So, it's
time to talk eMotion.
Yeah, exactly. It's time to talk eMotion. So what we have here is the DLS basically giving me 32 outputs of Pro Tools into my eMotion mixer for real-time Waves plug-in processing, and then back into Pro Tools. Less than a millisecond, right?
That's fast.
Awesome. So we've got that, and then in addition to it hooking up to the HDX cards, it is also compatible with any DigiLink interface. So I actually have it controlling a 192 right now. Now, there will be, as you're editing and adjusting plugins in eMotion, you obviously would want that information to be stored somehow in your Pro Tools session. So we have what's going to be called a link plugin that will, one instance in your Pro Tools session, will automatically save all of the settings that you have in eMotion, and then every time you hit Command S in Pro Tools,
quick snapshots.
Exactly right. You pull up Pro Tools session again, click this link plugin, automatically launches eMotion, automatically pulls up that session for you.
Wow.
Very cool.
Very cool.
And so the DLI, I'll say is the last one here, has the same kind of I/O, SoundGrid and DigiLink ports, right? No server. But you can hook up an existing SoundGrid server to it, or you can use DLS and DLI in tandem if you've got a bunch of I/Os you need to control.
So you can mix and match with the native as well.
You can mix and match if you want to. But the idea behind the DLS and the DLI is that these customers probably already have I/O. Right. So this is a way to get outputs into Pro Tools and control legacy I/O that is not going to be capable of controlling in later versions of Pro Tools.
Fantastic. So are we good on the eMotion? Is there anything else that,
Well,
I know this one is set up for a live setup, correct?
Let me give you, yeah, correct. Hey, come on in on this if you don't mind.
Back here.
Understood. So we've got, can you see it at all? All right, cool. So we've got a fully functional eMotion mixer here, like I said earlier. And I'll give you a quick tour of how it's laid out. It's very simple. You know how to use a hardware mixer? You probably know how to use this. We've got the All Channels tab, which I actually like. This is the max configuration right now, 64 stereo tracks, 8 groups, 16 auxes, 8 matrices. Like you said, this is the live sound version. Excuse me. There will also be a studio version. So
when's that coming out?
They'll both be out at the same time. Q2 is what we're looking at. So both in the summer. Now the group, yeah, so matrices, DCAs, mains, and monitors, right? I like this tab because you can see exactly what's going on. Then if you need to get more granular and actually start mixing, all right, let me play back some audio so you can see what's up. You got faders here. And working through the channel strip, right, I've got inputs, and if I had the iOS, IOX, or IOC hooked up, I have mic pre-control right here. Dynamics and EQ, it's a quick way to get to the new plugins that are going to be coming with eMotion, called the D5.
New plugins? What are we talking about here?
Well, there's new plugins specific to eMotion.
Okay, for live application?
Live or studio.
Or
the
studio.
idea is that this is a fully functional software mixer right down to each channel already having dynamics and EQ on it, right? So the D5 and the Q4 are allowing us to do that.
This is really going to minimize too, you know, bringing a professional studio pretty much anywhere.
Exactly.
You know, with a couple of cases and a laptop even, you know, if you're, maybe obviously not live, but you know, for somebody, I mean, even you could really live. But,
yeah.
For somebody recording and be able to set up anywhere and get total professional quality recording.
Totally.
This is amazing.
Absolutely, I agree. And it can be for live sound, it can be for studio, whatever you need. Now, going through the channel strip here, this is the racks. These are the insert points, right? This is the routing, which I really like. Auxes are cool because I have aux sends here, and as soon as I select one, I have a flip faders thing, where I'm able to use the large faders to actually do adjust my aux sends. And then if you want to get into the plugins, let's actually take a look at the new D5. This is a 5-tool dynamics plugin. It's got a de-esser, gate expander, limiter, leveler, de-esser.
And these are native to the eMotion system.
They all run, and I like this plugin for a lot of reasons. Also because they all run in parallel. So it's not a set signal path from gate to compressor to leveler.
Right.
Whatever needs to kick in will kick in. The Q4, very simple 4-band EQ, sounds great. It is a new algorithm, so it's a new sound from us. And if you need to get to any other plugin, for instance, our Jack Joseph Wigchild, it's a very, very good plugin. Virtually all of our plugins are available here.
Now I'm curious, are you guys going to set something up like a store where people, if you happen to be remote somewhere, you want to buy a Waves plugin on the fly or rent a Waves plugin on the fly?
Yeah.
Is that going to be possible?
That would be very cool, and it's something that I think we're going to work on. We're going to allow you to ping our website automatically from here to update the software if you need to. So I'd imagine
the mechanism will be there.
The mechanism might actually be there. I'll pass that feedback along. Good idea. Now, so we've got this here, and that's your plug-in control. And then I'll go back to the setup real fast. This is where we control the servers and the I/O devices. And if you notice here, how many slots we have, you can gang up to 60 I/Os if you want to.
Yeah, this is amazing stuff.
It is.
All right, well, hey, we're going to move on and talk Luke about some more stuff here, but this is some amazing stuff. You guys should check out the Waves website, check out Musician News, get some more information on this stuff. It really, things are turning. Things are turning. NAMM 2013.
Thanks, Kevin.